Oh no, maybe not. Oof. All right, so there we go. Yeah. I had the same browser up that I wanted to use to show you a video, and there we go. So I'm going to play a short clip here and then go on to the reading. This is Karlyn Borysenko. I tell everyone to follow her channel where she talks about the far left and what they're doing. And this is the group that Harry and Meghan belong to, or at least that they're catering to. They're on their side for sure. So here we go.
Or I don't know. But see, my sense is that people that really get into this stuff have got pathologies. That's what's so gratifying about it. If you have certain kinds of externalization, you see all the problems in the world as out there. You don't have to solve any of the internal problems. That's called a character illness. Mm-hmm. And so what I see is lots of evidence of character pathology, particularly borderline and narcissist, particularly borderline. And I'm wondering if you formed any opinion about that. And I'm thinking it because I'm thinking about solutions, and having worked for many decades in a psychiatric hospital, when people behave like patients, they need to be treated like patients. And these kinds of character pathologies need containment, like firm containment, or they will continue to run amok. So what are your thoughts?
Hey, listen, Dr. Drew, there's no one that would advocate more than me that we should lock up every far left person and not allow them to exist in polite society. I would be totally on board with that. But when it comes to pathology,
I'm not saying lock up. I'm saying contain.
Right? But
yeah,
contain them however you will, possibly in a concentration camp of some sort. Anyway, I'm being hyperbolic and I'm joking quite a bit.
Not even joking.
No, maybe a little bit, but
look, you can contain. You can contain with mockery. You can contain with constant feedback. You can contain with all boundaries of all sorts. There's tons of ways to contain, but you can't be timid about it. It has to be firm and has to be unified.
Yeah, I think the right wing has tried to contain them with mockery for years now, by posting lots of memes on Twitter and making fun of them every time they have a mass protest. And I would say that strategy hasn't worked. I mean, right now, the far left has kicked the Trump administration out of multiple major American cities. They are winning on the anti-ICE protest front resoundingly, no matter how many memes right-wingers post on Twitter. But going back to your question, when it comes to do I see a lot of narcissism and borderline in these communities? Probably no more than I see in any other community, to be honest. There's always going to be narcissists. There's always going to be crazy people. I do understand why you think that. I absolutely do. But you have to understand, again, a lot of socialists and communists, we're talking like the real ones, they've been indoctrinated into this ideology from the time they were children. Right. And so for many of them, it really is kind of a sad thing. They've had parents that have taught them this ideology. Socialists and communists actually have childcare built into their organizing meetings. So they bring their kids and they play little socialist games and daycare with them to raise them like good little socialists. They take games like Monopoly and they make them communist. I've actually seen this in person. You get into the public school system, and now we're seeing an instance where the public schools have really been captured by the far left since around 2008, 2009, 2010. It started way before that, but they completed their ideological capture 15 years ago. And so now we're seeing the first classes of high school graduates, college graduates that have been entirely indoctrinated into this ideology since they were 5 years old. And so, well, I certainly do think that narcissism and, borderline do have a place at the far left, just like they do in the right or any other place. There's always crazy people, right? I think the problem is actually much more severe in that these kids don't know anything different. This is what they've been taught by every person that has ever taught them in their entire lives.
So that's good insight. I appreciate that. And I'm certain you would certainly find the character pathology on any far fill in the blank, any extreme, anything. You're going to find this stuff. And that's a good observation. Well,
all right, so that was the tail end. I thought it was interesting of her interview discussing the far left with Dr. Drew. So good for her. She's on the Dr. Drew show. She's a very good personality to have on these shows. She knows, she's very well versed in it, very confident, and very knowledgeable on what's going on. So I'm hoping I had the same brow. Okay, good. Okay, hopefully everything's working and you can hear me. I believe you can. All right, let me just double check. Very knowledgeable. All right, yes, I got it. Okay, so I thought for fun this evening after watching that, they're talking about defeating the left, because of all the problems that have been causing since, George Floyd and Chaz, and now with the ICE. I mean, it's always one thing after another. They say again and again, they want to take over the U.S. government. I mean, they want to defeat capitalism. They want to take it over and make everything communist. So, like Karlyn's saying that, the right people, conservatives, whatnot, the average American doesn't even understand how bad it is, how organized they are, how many, and they're well on their way to winning this, getting and achieving their goal. So I want to do a reading for entertainment purposes only, doing another how-to spread like I did recently about how Megxit can win over or dismantle Harry and Meghan's censorship agenda. And now this time I'm going to be doing a reading on how to defeat the leftists. Again, it's entertainment purposes only. And so I'm using the Emperor card. And he's holding, if you can see in this particular deck, this is the Gilded Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. He's holding a fasci in his hand. And if you believe in capitalism and the capitalist way of life, then you're a fascist, according to the far left. So I thought the fasci was perfect. So how can the fascists win? Yes, you're either, nowadays it seems with their groups that you're either a communist or if you're not, you're a fascist. So yeah, I'm on the fascist side. I'm going to tell you right now. So there we go. That's how the dividing goes. It's either pro-Megxit, anti-Megxit, or anti-Meghan and Harry, pro-Harry and Meghan, anti-Meghan and Harry. And you're either capitalist or you're a communist, it seems these days. The two choices you have, one or the other is going to win. So let's take a look here. How can the fascists beat the communists? Oh, I just flipped over and I was shuffling the Emperor again. Yes, it's all about taking over the government. Did you hear Karlyn Borysenko was taping a professor at a university that they've taken over all the school system and the universities, and particularly at Harvard and Columbia, all very communists. But anyways, the DEI stuff is all coming from them. All the, pushing the tranny agenda and pushing, for trannies and women's sports and everything. This all goes back to them. This is all their agenda, what they've been pushing so successfully. Trump is putting a stop to most of it right now, but they're gearing to come back again. So yeah, and they're fighting against ICE, and like Karlyn Borysenko said, they're doing very well. They're winning, and Trump is having to withdraw ICE. So in certain cities, so it's really a war, another war going on here. And yeah, so let's see here. How can the rights, the fascists, the so-called fascists, the capitalists, really, how can the capitalists, Americans, how can they beat the left, the radical left? One way is by watching Karlyn Borysenko and learning about what's going on. and they speak in a different way. They use the same words, but they're using, a double speak and whatnot. So if you don't understand the double speak, you don't understand what they're actually saying. I mean, the way they use, because they don't come right out and say, a lot of times they do come out and say, this is capitalism, we got to get rid of capitalism. But sometimes they call it different names, like the bourgeois state, or they use other like alternate words that if you don't learn about it, you don't know what they're referring to. Like systemic racism is capitalism, because they believe capitalist society makes racism. and yeah, that type of thing. So they're using like alternate words that if you're not aware of their lingo, that you might not know what they really mean, and that's how they've gotten away and become so successful flying under the radar. Hi, Tiger Eye. How are you? Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're on my side. We need more and more people on our side, and we got to learn how to fight this, because otherwise they're taking over. And Yuri Bezmenov was warning us, and he's still warning us, talking about this. He's got a Twitter account, and he's got a Substack, and he was warning us. His videos on YouTube, he was saying, look, they're gonna infiltrate you by brainwashing your children, and sure enough, they've done it. They've brainwashed a whole generation now through the school system. They completely took over. Like she said, Karlyn says in this interview, 2009, 2010, they totally took it over, and all the kids, they're from a very young age, all they know is this communist garbage. And that's why we've got these radical high schoolers going out and jumping in front of traffic for climate change and what other stupid lie that these communist teachers have put in their heads. So anyways, I digress. Let me do this. So how can the capitalists beat the communists again? Let's see. So what are the capitalist situation? What do they have going for them? What do they need to change? What's the secret reserve? What's the secret weapon? What do they need the courage to do? And how to go about doing it? What do other people need? And deal with other people. What are we unaware of, not know, or not considered? What are capitalists hoping for? Will they succeed if they follow all these steps in the reading? Will they succeed in beating commies? And what will the result of that be? And what will capitalists need to sacrifice, or who are the secret enemies? We got a lot of people coming from the UK pushing this communist type agenda with Harry and Meghan and their censorship through the Centers for Countering Digital Hate. Keir Starmer is an example of an extreme lefty. Look what Keir Starmer is doing in the UK. This is what these lefties want to bring here. The censorship, the oppression, the everything. Mass migration taking over. They want everybody poor. They want your electric bills to go through the roof. Yeah, they want to bring in communism. So Keir Starmer, through the Centers for Countering Digital Hate, and Harry and Meghan have been bringing it here with the censorship. And they're still doing it with the childhood safety stuff. Unbelievable. All right, so I think I've shuffled enough. Let's take a look. What do capitalists need to do to defeat the left? The commies. What do they need to do? Let's see what the cards show. All right, so the situation right now, oh my goodness, I got the 10 of Swords. Yeah, Karlyn's right. Left is kicking the capitalist ass right now. The right doesn't know up from down, left from right. They don't even know what's going on. Because she points out how the right, we're being annihilated here. We're being literally killed by Antifa and by immigrants and by just all sorts of things that they cause. Look at Antifa, all the people they attacked and killed and whatnot. George Floyd riots, they killed so many Americans with those George Floyd riots, and they're going to kill more because communism kills, right? It always kills millions, and the result. But they're doing it now, and it looks like right now the capitalists feel overwhelmed and attacked, and getting cancel cultured. All that cancel culture is from them, and the getting people fired from their jobs because of they misgendered them or not accepted a tranny in the bathroom and that kind of thing. Yeah, so we're the capitalists are getting destroyed, murdered, attacked relentlessly. The platform losing their jobs. Very rough state right now, and they don't know what to do. Because, like I said, they speak their own language, and they're so well organized that most people most capitalists have no idea what's going on and where it's coming from and how it's being up and how it's happening everywhere all around them, because like I said, they did with their double speak. So it's like first, so it's a really bad situation right now in general for the right or the capitalists. So what do the capitalists have going for them? And I've got the Queen of Coins reversed. So this is about handling the finances, budgets, I see this more on a domestic political stance here. See, they're very organized and always fighting about the money. Like, they're always like defund the police, right? Now they're defund ICE. They're always focused on the money. And they're even jumping on the Epstein stuff, saying, oh, anyone connected to Epstein needs to be fired and they need to give reparations. You know how they're always about the reparations, right? So now they want reparations for people for the Epstein and whatnot. So, but the right, the capitalists, they're not fighting this way and attacking them and saying, well, you need to give reparations for all the Americans who have been killed during your George Floyd riots and by illegal immigrants, and you need to give reparations to them and their families, like Lake and Riley and others. So a lack of organization with finances and with using that type the way the left does in getting donations. George Floyd, they got millions from corporations for that. So the capitalists need to do that and say, hey, corporations, you need to support us, not them. So I think not being so far the capitalists, because we're just looking at fighting the left, right? The capitalists fighting the commies. So they're not being wise so far, have not been handling the economics of the fight and getting funded to organize against them in general. I know they have things like TPUSA or something, but I've heard TPUSA is basically globalist controlled, and it's not even a lot of people don't like it on either side. So I don't know, that's just what I'm hearing. I don't know, I'm just saying there needs to be more of a ground roots kind of, I think, more idea of funding and organizing there. So what needs to change? What do the capitalists need to do to change? Ace of Pentacles. So a new opportunity here, a new beginning. They need to start afresh. They need to start with a fresh new organization, I think, or just at least establishing a new organization to fight the left. They need to what they have now is not working, and like I said, like the ones that are now that have bad reputations, they need to start fresh with more of a wider ground roots kind of, because the left is decentralized. So perhaps the capitalists also need to organize a similar fashion in order to combat this. But I see a new way. It need to restructure, because I see coins as restructuring in a new way, organize in a new way, a new organization even. Yeah. What is the base of a source of strength for the capitalists? Yeah, Three of Swords. So capitalists are upset because we are the victims of these protests and these cancel cultures and these deplatformings and these, having our bathrooms invaded by men cosplaying women, and we're the ones who are attacked and maligned and called fascist, insults and attacked. So they were angry, and that anger is a source of strength, because I think a lot of capitalists are like, enough is enough. This is crazy and stupid, and we're not going along with your DEI, and we're not going along with your communist agenda and Harry and Meghan's agenda as well. And we are not happy with the situation. We really hate the way you're having high school kids run out in the streets and block the streets for climate change or whatever stupid nonsense. Like, enough is enough. So the capitalists are very angry now. They're like, this is out of control. It needs to stop. Right? These people are destroying our country, and it's intentional. They want to, not just here, but I'm focused on here. There are a lot of destruction, and capitalists are very unhappy. They realize this is too far out of control. You know, you see with Ilhan Omar, another radical leftist, with her Somali community that's been siphoning billions of tax dollars, right? And as well as USAID, more billions of tax dollars from the capitalists, using it to destroy this country. So yeah, so that anger, that upset is a source of strength right now, and getting the word out about all of these attacks we're under, and the people have died because of these people. Because these people turn around and pretend they're the victims. They're like, oh, one of ours died by ICE. It's like, yeah, you're pretty and good people who died. They asked for it. They were holding a weapon. The pretty guy, but he was carrying a gun. That's why he got shot. These people were very aggressive, but they act like, oh, they're such innocent victims of ICE, you know. So they're using this victim, you know, as an example. But the right isn't doing that. The capitalists aren't doing. They should be, because we got Laken Riley, and we've got a whole slew of names, Officer Dorn and others, who were murdered by them. But they don't care who. But you never hear about the people they murder. They completely forget about that. They just want you to remember who they want you to remember. So it's this whole mind game of they're kind of constantly play the victim, like Harry and Meghan. They play the victim while they're turning around killing other people. Harry and Meghan play the victim while Meghan gets people like Piers Morgan fired from their jobs and takes down YouTubers, rips down their channels, right? So yeah, they play the victim while they attack with like Meghan did with Christopher Boozy, attacking YouTubers. One example, you know, this is what they do again and again. So I'm getting here that, you know, they need to get a taste of their own medicine, and it needs to be thrown back at them, because they definitely have murdered and victimized and deplatformed and fired people because of their beliefs that they're forcing on others. So, and they're, yeah, unbelievable. So go on and on. But anyways, what do the capitalists need to have the courage to do? Oh, I get 4 cups. So I see here being calm about it and looking for new opportunities and making new alliances here. This is someone, you know, he's sort of young man. He's reading his book, right? He's doing his own thing, and then he's seeing this cup fly up, like this is new information. Like, more people need to become aware of how serious this is. And this is what Karlyn Borysenko was saying. People need to wake up. You know, people are not paying attention to what's really going on. They don't know. You have to find out, because it's getting worse and worse otherwise, because they're taking advantage of the fact that the capitalists aren't really paying attention, or that they think that they know what's going on, but they really don't. They don't really understand what's behind all of the craziness that's been going on so the past few, 10 years or so. So I do see here people need to reach out and inform others and say, hey, we should get we should watch Karlyn Borysenko's channel right now. Get involved and find out what's really happening in your backyard. Otherwise, they're going to come over. They're convincing people to join them, because they're getting ignorant people who don't even understand what they're really selling. Because of course, they're very duplicitous about representing what they really stand for to people who don't know any better. So people need to find out. They need to wake up their people around that don't understand it, because there's people that go along with them and they don't really understand they don't realize it's communism they're following. They just think, oh, well, this is anti-racist. Yeah, well, anti-racist means anti-capitalism, and they don't realize it. They think they're just they're standing up for people's rights, but that's not what it's really about. See, it's what you have to find out. You have to understand they're fooling you. They're lying to you. They're evil. It's evil. It's deception, in my opinion. So that's why people need to drink the Kool-Aid is what I get from that card. So what details do we need to know? Oh, wow. Queen of Cups reversed. Yeah, a very unhappy woman here. But again, a water sign. So I'm getting sort of people need to be reached, but more on an emotional level and a family level and relation, because cups are about relationships. And so it needs to, how it affects your family, how it affects your happiness, and doing so and sort of, not gearing people up to fight or anything, but to sort of connect with others in a calm manner and just be like, really you should pay attention to this and learn a little bit about it because it's kind of important to your family and your happiness here. Yeah, Karlyn is the best, isn't she? Yeah. Yes. And she's the only one doing this. She's the only one really showing and understanding and finally explaining. I mean, it was a real struggle when that George Floyd stuff's going on. I was struggling trying to figure out, and they had that guy, what was that guy's name, where he's getting all philosophical and talking about, all these, theories from the original communists from the 1800s or whatever it was. And I was getting so confused. I'm like, what is going on here? It took Karlyn to come out and be like, no, this is what's really going on. This isn't about, the original manifesto of communism. This is what's happening right here and now and what they mean now in 2025. You know what I mean? 2026. Because I was trying to find out, what was that guy? I can't remember. He was a popular man. He was getting a lot of attention. I think he still does. But, no one beats Karlyn. Karlyn's the best. She's really the original, right? So, yeah. And she's entertaining. I mean, I find her, her videos, they're educational and entertaining. You're in school. When you watch her video, just to warn you, you're in class. So be careful what you type in the chat. You'll be blocked. You need to be that way because she's like trying to bang it in people's heads. Like, this is what they mean. It's very good though. It reminds me of being back in elementary school. This is the way my teachers were. They're probably not. I don't know if they're like that now with all this woke stuff. But anyhow, yeah, no, they're not learning anything anymore. Kids can't even read anymore because their teachers are too busy turning them into activists. But anyways, what are people dealing with? People? Oh, Page of Cups reversed. Oh, God. So this is dealing with other people, and it shows that people are not based in reality in this situation. I would see this as trying to reach other capitalists and to try to get them to understand. And there's so much misunderstanding as a combination of misinformation. I hate using the word, but just basically. There's a lot of, as Karlyn Borysenko points out, there's a lot of right-wing pundits who are wrong. They just don't know what they're talking about, and they're spreading lies unintentionally because they just don't really understand what's going on with the left. So that confusion on top of the doublespeak they use and the fact that they are deceptive to others about what they really are doing or what they're about, that there's so much confusion around this. It makes it makes it so difficult to sort of get through to people how serious it actually is and how the danger that apparently that we're in because of it, the government and whatnot. And you can see that with the activities. And the fact is that the mainstream media covers for them. I mean, you can never forget, a mostly peaceful protest. Remember that one? While buildings are burning up in the background and stuff, and people are being killed by Antifa. You didn't hear about them because they're being covered. The mainstream media covers, doesn't report on the truth of how violent they were and are. And so people just don't understand how bad it really is as a result, unless you're actually there. I mean, more people are covering the actual events so that It's a little better now with live streaming and whatnot, but you have to know to look for that and not to just accept the sound bites of the mainstream media, of course, or even the right-wing pundits that you see. So what do we not know, or what are we not aware of or thinking about? Oh my goodness. Wheel of Fortune reversed. Oh my goodness, this is ugly. Things are not on, luck is not on our side, that's for sure. And I'm getting the idea again, like luck is not on our side, at the capitalist side, and it's worse than people realize. This is in the hidden house. This is like what you don't know. You don't know how bad it is. None of us know how bad it really is. Yeah. Like Lovely Lemon. And yeah, it's bad. It's bad and getting worse, and it's out of control. And it's spiraling, you know. It's getting worse and worse. And because so many people don't understand exactly what's going on, and because capitalists aren't organized enough, and it's getting worse and worse. They've been emboldened, you know, especially after Biden. They've been really emboldened and getting more out of control. And it might even be damage is going to be done either way, serious damage. So what are the hopes and wishes of capitalists? Oh my goodness. 9 of Swords. Well, I would say the hope is to put the fear, you know, as they say, put the fear of God in people here with the 9 of Swords. Like, you should, like, basically getting people to understand that this is something to be concerned with, and not to be complacent about it, because too many people right now are complacent and not paying attention and not taking it seriously. So what capitalists want is like getting everybody on board and awake to this and taking it seriously, very seriously, because it's gonna be too late otherwise, and they will destroy and kill people, which they're already doing. They're already killing and destroying capitalism and capitalists. And look what they're doing in the UK and Australia with the freedom of speech, and not just that, but all their rights. Look what they did with the jibby jabs and the censorship around that. They're already killing us, you know, and it's going to get worse. So if you do everything here, if capitalists do everything, follow the advice and try to wade through the confusion and, you know, take it step by step, educating and be more organized with, you know, make a new form of organizing against this, and get the people who are aware, just continue to get the fight on and get the, you know, word out. How will it go? And I get, oh God, 5 of Cups. This is going to end up ugly any way you look at it. Well, the 5 of Cups is, oh God, yeah, it is a soldier there, and he is not happy. Now, I think this, not necessarily defeat, but it's unhappiness that turn out how things are going to turn out in the end. Yeah. You said your cousin in Minnesota had no idea what TDS meant. I heard Minnesota is like all socialists. Like, there's a channel on YouTube of a guy in Minnesota. He's like, everybody there is basically socialist. Like, it's so, if you're not, you're like, you're out. You won't get a job or anything. It's like really bad there. That's like the center. That apparently Minnesota is the epicenter of it all. And that's where, yeah, it's just the last place in America you want to live right now, unless you're a communist. Then you probably want to go to Minnesota. I don't know. But it's not good. This is not good. It's not going to be a happy ending either way you look at it. I'm getting really ugly cards here. I mean, I'm getting 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, 5 of Cups, Wheel of Fortune reversed. This is not 10, 9, 3 of Swords. This is ugly. This is really ugly. What's the end result going to be? Okay, well, finally a decent card here. It's not, I don't know if it's going to save the day, but I've got 2 of Coins here. which sort of shows a balance of the two sides, and in a stalemate type of situation, or continuing going back and forth for a long time, and somehow coexisting or separating into two different areas of the country, so that they have their communists, but they want to take over the whole country and the federal government. So, but of course, that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be a horrific end where there's going to be separation, obviously, because capitalists are not going to go along with their plan. So I see separation here, and the two sides sort of balancing coexistence somehow. I'm not going to try to venture to guess exactly how, but I do see two of coins upright, which is balancing two sides equally there somehow. That's not going to be a good situation. It's not going to be what we had. There's going to be serious, at the end of the day, there's going to be some losses here, whether it's losses of life, losses of land. There's going to be a lot of destruction. You got a bunch of brainwashed kids who have been brainwashed by these commies since kindergarten. You can't get that back. I mean, once they're fully indoctrinated, it would, from 5 years old, you can't turn that around. It's a very sad situation, and not one you can really do anything with, except to separate from them and be like, unless they want to unlearn and relearn but can you do that? I don't know. So it's basically a lost cause at this point. So many people, maybe not all, but some, yes. But anyways, what do you have to sacrifice, or who are the secret enemies to this? 6 of Swords. Enemies overseas. I would take it like the UK and the Five Eyes, Europe, of course. All these China, all these foreign influences. 6 of Wands is very much a foreign influence. So that I would say is the secret enemy. They're involved in all this. I mean, Venezuela was very involved, from what I understand, as well as Cuba and other China, and all these communist countries are to blame for a lot of the influence and successes of the communists to cause such destruction. And it's not going to, it's either way, it's going to be an ugly fight, ugly end, just ugly. Dealing with the situation, it's not going to. I mean, look what they're doing to Trump. I mean, if he's gonna, if it's this bad to worse, then without some sort of new organization to combat this, it's going to be a very ugly, destructive takeover. So it's going to be destroying our way of life and destroying our country. But for them, it's their utopia. But I don't see them obviously being able to take over everything. There's going to have to be some bargaining here, back and forth, sort of balance there. But it's going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly. I mean, now you have, you can't even have a national anthem anymore. Now they want to change everything, even the national anthem. I mean, this constant changing and having to balance everything with them is going to continue. And it's going to, of course, just make life more and more miserable for capitalists. So, like Karlyn Borysenko was saying on that show, that really need to just, the only real solution is to get them out of society, or just put them away somewhere. Like maybe give them a section of the country and say, okay, you can live here, leave us alone, and block them out. We got to build a wall between us and these communists is what we need. That's where the wall needs to be. The capitalists and the communists. That's where we need a wall for sure. Other than that, they're just going to be around making our lives miserable for going forward, unless they're separated somehow. They're going to be constantly going on with these lies and this double speak and like the Meghan and Harry's going out and promoting them under the deceptive guise of being about racism, when it's really systemic racism. Like Harry and Meghan got an award from Kerry Kennedy for fighting systemic racism. Well, systemic racism is capitalism, right? So it's always, they're going to be doing these lies and deceit and being evil, and it's going to continue unless we corral them up and put them somewhere, which I don't think is going to happen. It looks like they're going to be making us miserable for a long, long time. And I don't see it ending. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And I see this with the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Like, it's going to get worse in unexpected ways that you're not going to see coming. I mean, that's like bad luck. Or it's like unexpected. Like another thing that these commies are doing is they're having their walkouts, right? They want to go all on strike the same day. And Karlyn gave the dates on the Dr. Drew show. But they want to surprise everyone, all the capitalists, by everybody calling out and going on strike on, I don't know, May 1st, 2028. So that like every Starbucks, every Amazon, every, big, airports, where they have unions, where these communists have taken over, is the schools, they're all going to call out on the same day and surprise the capitalists with it to show their strength, because what they want to do is shut down the country. So that's why I think I'm seeing the Wheel of Fortune reversed. It's like this suddenly, they're doing this one day to show their strength of destroying the country. And I think it's going to happen, and it's going to be very shocking and unexpected to a lot of capitalists who aren't watching this and watching Karlyn. You know what I mean? It's going to be a very abrupt, sudden, like, what is going on, and all you can say is watch Karlyn, but that's what's going to happen, and it's going to get more and more miserable. And they have no sense of humor either. I mean, I don't know if you notice watching them and whatnot, they have no humor because they're all politically correct with everything, and they're brainwashing. They're just a miserable group of people, and I don't even know if they realize how miserable they are. They get together and they're always like, trying to be all nicey with each other because they're just miserable. Like, they have no fun. They have no humor, everything. And I'm sure they'll say, oh, it's because I'm living in a capitalist, what's the phrases they use? The colonized imperial country. That's why. But they're really just miserable people. They're just absolutely horrible to be around. I wouldn't want to live with them, that's for sure. I'd be up for building a wall between us and them, to be honest. They're just awful. But yeah, that's what I see. Really, really ugly cards here, unfortunately. I don't see a happy ending dealing with them either way. I think that it's going to be a lot of suffering and a lot of unhappiness in that. Because capitalists don't want to fight with them. They just want to live their lives. But unfortunately, these communists make it impossible because they're brainwashing your children, and they're cancel culturing you, and they're trying to destroying your police departments, and putting men in your women's bathrooms. I mean, they're so out of control, they won't stop. They want to put men on your women's teams, sports teams. They just want to obliterate, because they want to obliterate genders, which Karlyn Borysenko goes all into. But it's just like, they won't leave us alone, right? So there's no happy ending, and this is really, that's why I'm getting that this is the final ending. If we do everything we can, we're getting 5 of Cups, and it looks like he's got an American flag there too, and he looks miserable. Like, there's no happy answer to this because of them. They're just miserable, and they're going to make us miserable one way or the other, whether it looks like we win or we lose. It's going to be a very depressing, unhappy, miserable existence because of them, in my opinion. That's what I see. It's a very, God, these cards are just like I said, I'm getting 10 of Swords, I'm getting 3 of Swords. I mean, they're just making everybody miserable and fighting and brainwashing and, causing people to just ruining people's lives because they're selfish and selfishly motivated, and you have to do what I want. And they're doing their surprise attacks here. They think night and day, all they think about is attacking capitalists. I mean, it's a relentless enemy. And unfortunately, they often use the capitalist tax dollars to fund their stuff, like Harry and Meghan. It's just all very evil and diabolical, and China and Venezuela and all the rest would be laughing their asses off, because that's exactly what they want to do to America, and it's why Europe is falling, and so is the UK. I mean, it's a really ugly, unhappy, miserable situation. Yeah. No, you're welcome. All right, I'll stop ranting and raving. Talking to, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't see a secret weapon here, unless you think of something more specific I can ask about. But just in general, for the capitalists taking out the far left, it can happen, but it's not going to be easy, and it's going to be ugly, win or lose. But I think it will be, it won't be. They won't win entirely. They'll win partially. But not all the way. There's going to be the two sides having to balance, like I said, in the end. So, yeah. So there you have it. So, hope you found this interesting. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful... Thanks for being here, chatting. And until next time, have a wonderful evening. All right, take care. Bye-bye.